Mason Greenwood is set to leave Manchester United. This has just been announced in the last couple of minutes by the official statement from the club. We will be getting into that on today's video, but before we do that, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel. This is absolutely mad. It's literally just come out in the last couple of seconds. And as always, we are bringing you the reaction immediately. This is coming out from the club itself. So it says club statement on Mason Greenwood. Manchester United has concluded its internal investigations into the allegations made against Mason Greenwood. It goes on to say, our process commenced in February 2023 following all charges against Mason being dropped. Throughout, we have taken into account the wishes, rights and perspective of the alleged victim, along with the club's standards and values, and sought to collate as much information and context as possible. Blah, blah, blah. It goes on to say, based on the evidence available to us, we have concluded that the material posted online did not provide a full picture and that Mason did not commit the offences in respect of which he was originally charged. That said, as Mason publicly acknowledges today, he has made mistakes which he is taking responsibility for. All those involved, including Mason, recognise the difficulties with him recommencing his career at Manchester United. It has therefore been mutually agreed that it would be most appropriate for him to do so away from Old Trafford, and we will now work with Mason to achieve those outcomes. So Mason Greenwood will no longer be a Manchester United player. He will be leaving the club and he will be going elsewhere. Where that will be, we don't know at this point. From what the story says, Manchester United will do everything they can to try and help him find another club, whether that will be somewhere in England, whether that will be somewhere abroad. Obviously, at this point, we don't know, but it is being done on a mutual basis. So both parties have agreed to, I assume it will be terminating his contract. It goes on to say that Mason Greenwood's move away from Manchester United is likely to be a loan before a permanent sale or mutually agreeing to end the contract. So it looks like it will be some sort of loan with a buy option, but he will be leaving Manchester United. He will no longer be a Manchester United player and he will not play for the club this season or again in the future. Another story coming out here, Manchester United today announced Mason Greenwood to continue a career elsewhere, U-turning on the original plan communicated by CEO Richard Arnold to executive leadership on August the 1st. So if anybody is unaware of what's actually happened here, right? It got leaked a couple of days ago that he was coming back, right? Richard Arnold had apparently told all of the CEOs at the club and all of the rest of the people within the team that he was coming back. That got leaked by The Athletic. Obviously, there was an absolute outrage on Twitter and all the rest of it. There was people protesting. There was people saying they're going to resign, people saying they're going to go on strike, handing in their notice. All of this stuff came out. Manchester United make a U-turn. They've now announced that he will no longer be a Manchester United player. He'll be going out somewhere else. Where that will be, I don't know. Another story coming. Obviously, this is a developing story, so we're going to get lots of different news whilst we're live. But it says Mason Greenwood's move away is most likely to be a loan before a potential permanent sale or a mutually agreeing to terminate the contract. So Richard Arnold has apparently put out a letter as well. He says, "Dear fans, now that we have concluded and announced the outcome of the club's investigation into Mason Greenwood, I want to be direct and transparent with our fans about the process and the reasons for our decision. This was an internal disciplinary investigation between employer and employee, which would ordinarily take place outside of the public eye. Given the public nature of the allegations and Mason's profile, I acknowledge that this was not an ordinary situation, but I felt it important that we still follow due process and, so far as possible, avoid media comment until I had made a definitive decision. When audio footage and imagery was posted in January 2022, my feelings were of shock and concern for the alleged victim. Her welfare, wishes and perspective have been central to the club's approach ever since, and as have the standards and values of the club, which we immediately concluded that Mason should be suspended pending investigation. We were also conscious of our duty of care towards him and the importance of making a decision based on full information. Until February this year, this was a matter for the police and the Crown Prosecution Service. It was only when charges were dropped that the club discussed the allegations with Mason and others involved in the case. Our investigation sought to collate as much evidence as possible to establish facts and context. This was not a quick or straightforward process for a variety of reasons. It was essential for us to respect the rights and wishes of the alleged victim. Also, we have limited powers of investigation, which meant we were reliant on third-party cooperation. Timings have also been influenced by my desire to minimise the impact of the investigation on our men's and women's team, as well as our Lionesses. I acknowledge that this gave more time for speculation, but the alternative would have been to compromise due process or create untimely disruption." Yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely mad situation, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. It goes on to say that, wow. So Richard Arnold has just said this. "While I am satisfied that Mason did not commit the acts he was charged with, Mason's accepted that he has made mistakes which he takes responsibility for. I'm also mindful of the challenge that Mason would face rebuilding his career and raising a baby together with his partner in the harsh spotlight of Manchester United. Further, this case has provoked strong opinions, and it is my responsibility to minimise any distraction to the unity we are seeking within the club. That was what I said months ago, that was the big issue, right? Although we have decided that Mason will seek to rebuild his career away from Manchester United, that does not signal the end of this matter. The club will continue to offer its support both to the alleged victim and Mason to help them rebuild and move forward positively with their lives. I just want to stop everybody for a minute here, okay? Richard Arnold has just said this, right? In his statement, Richard Arnold has written this letter to us, the fans, and Richard Arnold says, I am satisfied that Mason Greenwood did not commit the acts he was charged with. So, like, all of those of you who want him back, how does that make any sense? So Richard Arnold has literally just told us that he doesn't think Mason Greenwood's done what people are saying he's done, okay? But they're still removing him. Like, that's the bit that doesn't make sense for me. Like, how can Richard Arnold say, I'm satisfied that he did not commit the acts he was charged with? So, I mean that just completely blows the whole thing open, doesn't it? It clearly shows that they were going to bring him back. They weren't happy with the fan backlash. Yeah, crazy. Mason Greenwood has just done a statement as well. Oh my God, this is mad today, isn't it? So Mason Greenwood has just released an official statement as well. We will get into that right now. Where are we? Okay, so Mason Greenwood has said the following. Everybody smash a like on the video, please. I'm just going to jump into this. This is Mason Greenwood's statement now. Mason says, I want to start by saying I understand that people will judge me because of what they have seen and heard on social media, and I know people will think the worst. I was brought up to know that violence or abuse in any relationship is wrong. I did not do the things I was accused of, and in February I was cleared of all charges. However, I fully accept I made mistakes in my relationship, and I take my share of responsibility for the situations which led me to the social media post. I am learning to understand my responsibilities to set a good example as a professional footballer, and I'm focused on the big responsibility of being a father as well as a good partner. Today's decision has been part of a collaborative process between Manchester United, my family and me. The best decision for us all is for me to continue my football career away from Old Trafford. To emphasise that, listen to that, all of the people who are saying bring him back. Mason Greenwood's statement says, the best decision for us all, including his family, is for me to continue my football career away from Manchester United, where my presence will not be a distraction for the club. I thank the club for their support since I joined at age 7. There will always be a part of me which is United. I am enormously grateful to my family and all my loved ones for their support, and it is now for me to repay the trust those around me have shown. I intend to be a better footballer, but most importantly, a good father, a better person, and to use my talents in a positive way on and off the pitch. I mean, okay, so it's done and dusted. Nobody in the chat can say, bring Mason Greenwood back and all the rest of it. The club have made their decision. Mason Greenwood will not play for Manchester United ever again. That's a fact. He's gone. Okay? But the fact that Richard Arnold has said that he doesn't believe that the crimes he was committed, or the crimes that he was alleged of, are real. That's the bit that I'm confused about here. I'm really, really struggling to understand this situation, because if there's more to this that we haven't been told, surely this should have come out. Like, what are they implying then? Is there something that we don't know? Richard Arnold has literally just said, I am satisfied that Mason Greenwood did not commit the acts he was charged with. The CEO of the club, the man who makes the decisions at the club, is saying he's satisfied that he didn't commit the charges. Okay, commit the crimes. But if you're satisfied, then surely there's got to be something else going on here which we're not being told. Mason Greenwood in his own thing saying, I fully accept, blah, blah, blah. So they're still denying that anything happened. Richard Arnold saying that he doesn't believe anything happened. Mason Greenwood's obviously said in his statement that nothing's happened, but yet they've removed him. So yeah, there's some more breaking news here. It says the investigation found that Mason Greenwood did not commit the offences which he was charged with. I'm a little bit confused here. I am really, really confused. Are they doing this to cover themselves? I don't know. I'm a little bit lost for words, because this goes past the point of what your opinions are in the situation. The fact that the club are coming out saying that the investigation found that Mason Greenwood did not commit the offences that he was charged with. Richard Arnold saying, I'm satisfied that Mason Greenwood did not commit the acts he was charged with. You know, there's no acceptance here from anybody. But let's just look at this purely from a footballing perspective. I do think this was the right decision, because as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, it's created a crazy divide amongst the fan base. It's obviously not going to have a good impact on the team. It's not going to have a good impact on Erik ten Hag, on the backroom staff and all the rest of it. It's a very, very toxic situation. for a club that's going through a massive sale to be involved with. So I do understand it from that perspective, but I'm still just a little bit confused about this whole statement. You know, did he do it or not? You're telling us that he didn't do it, but now you're saying that you're getting rid of him. If this is because of Mason Greenwood's wishes, then I completely respect that. And let's just revert back to what Mason Greenwood has said himself, right? Mason Greenwood himself has said, the best decision for us all, including my family, is for me to continue my football career away from Manchester United, where my presence will not be a distraction for the club. I thank the club for their support since I joined age 7. So by the sounds of it, it sounds like Mason Greenwood actually was the one who wanted to do this. Because if Richard Arnold's coming out saying that he doesn't think that he did it, the club saying their investigation found that he didn't do it, this seems that they've done it for the best interests of Mason Greenwood, because whether he did it or not, whatever you think, every single day, every single time he plays a game away from home, he's going to get absolutely abused. He'll probably get, abused from our own fans at home, because he does, however, say, though, let's just give it all the fair bit. Mason does say, however, I fully accept I made mistakes in my relationship, and I take my share of responsibility for the situations which led to the social media posts. So he's obviously denying whatever those posts were real, okay? But he's saying that something he did, he takes responsibility for the responsibility for the situations which led to that post. That's what he's saying. So something else must have happened. Obviously, we don't know what that is, that led to those posts coming out, but they're still saying that they don't, that those posts... At the end of the day, for me, it's the right decision. I know people are going to be upset about it. I know some people are going to be... saying bring Mason Greenwood back. This is a disgrace. He's not guilty and all the rest of it. But the key thing is here, right? Let's just take a deep breath, right? He's just had a child. Whether it's true or not, he's always going to be remembered for what those allegations were. Okay, he's just had a child. He needs to think what's best for his family and for himself. And think about if that was you. The best thing for yourself would be to be away from Manchester United, 100%. And before people start coming in the chat and saying, he's going to be homeless, he's not going to have any money, Manchester United is still going to pay him, okay? He's still going to earn £4 million a year. Whether he plays football or not, he's still going to earn the same amount of money because Manchester United have a contract with him. So Manchester United are doing probably the right thing here by way of they're still paying him. He's been paid for the whole last 18 months. He's not going to be homeless. And by the sounds of it, he's doing what he thinks is best for his family and what the club think is best for both the player's mental health and for the player and his family. So, yeah, it's a pretty mad situation. Obviously, we all know that the club wanted to bring him back. We know that last week, Richard Arnold got leaked that he was going to bring him back. Media outrage, people saying they wouldn't support the club anymore, people protesting, people going on strike, people handing in their resignations. All sorts of craziness was going down. The media pressure got too much. The story that is coming out today is saying that their investigation found that he was not guilty, but they're still removing him from the club. The black and white of it is, he's gone. He's gone. That's it. The headline is, Manchester United and Mason Greenwood have decided to mutually decided that his best option will be to be away from Manchester United. You've got my reaction on it. I thought this was the right decision from the beginning. I thought even from a footballing perspective, I think it's an unnecessary distraction to have somebody in the team who's got all of this stuff going on behind the scenes. Obviously, we're never going to know what the extent of what actually happened is, and it's kind of gone past the point of that now. Let's just hope that Mason Greenwood goes and finds a good career somewhere else at another club. He's still very young. He's obviously very talented. Let's hope he goes somewhere else and he can do whatever it is he wants to set out to do. And let's hope that just, his child and all the rest of it, that's all we can really think of in this exact moment, isn't it? Is what's best for the child, what's best for his family. And it seems like this decision has been made based on what will be best for his family. So there's another bit of a story come out here saying several members of parliament criticised the proposed return of Mason Greenwood, as did Women's Aid, a charity which supports women and children. The club had not engaged with charities specialising in abuse against women to help inform their internal process. So if I'm looking at it from an outside perspective, right, The Athletic released this article saying that Mason Greenwood's going to come back and the decision's been made. That got leaked. for whatever reason, the club should have been the first people to put it out. If the club had put it out, maybe it would have been a different story. It gets leaked, and then you have members of parliament, you have fans, you have all sorts of different people who obviously react to it in a certain way. Yeah, and they've just not been able to withstand the pressure. And that's ultimately the black and white of it, because let me finally one last time revert back to what Richard Arnold said in his statement. He says, "I am satisfied that Mason did not commit the acts he was charged with. Mason's accepted that he has made mistakes, which he takes full responsibility for." So the things that he was charged for, those bits of things we saw and heard, whatever, the club is saying from their investigation, they found that those were not true. That's what he's ultimately said here. But other stuff seems to have happened, which obviously we don't know what that stuff is. So, you know, absolutely mad situation. It really, really is crazy. I don't really know what to think. Obviously, do let me know in the comment section how you feel about this one. There's another bit of a story coming out here saying internal risk assessment documents prepared by the club had categorized. Oh yeah, so they broke it all down into which, you know, members of the press were going to be supportive, and all the rest of it. Mason Greenwood said, "I did not do the things I was accused of." So he's denied it. The club have said that their investigation led to, you know, him not being found guilty within the club's investigation of what was happened. Richard Arnold says he doesn't think he's done it, but he's not going to play for Manchester United again. Absolutely crazy. Obviously, I've never had a situation like this since being a Manchester United fan. It's a mad situation to be in. I'm kind of glad that we don't have to talk about it too much anymore. I'm sure we'll get asked questions about it over the next couple of days, and obviously we'll answer those questions. But I think overall, this is probably the right decision, for the best wishes for his family, for him himself. So obviously, I wish them all the best. I hope his family are all right and all the rest of it. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap the video up here, guys, because I think I've covered all the bases. Please do smash a like on the video on your way out. Please do subscribe to the channel, and please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you later.